Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 16th, 2023 at approximately 4:29 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide my own life by. I've shared these tools with thousands of other people with varying degrees of success based entirely on their own personal efforts. So today we are going to be looking at black ant watchers and their kin. And we have right off the bat, Big J, you are in with the gold. Amitonga, you're in with silver. I figured we might just well try and do our best to get back on track. And Joe, in with the bronze. Well done. Now get this. As you know, I use the bed behind me as a desk. Okay. So, needless to say, it's covered right now, but it has all the stuff on it that I need to get sorted around. Big J, the answer to your question is no. Big J's just asking, are the watchers the clockwork elves? No, they are not. Those glasses won't help me much. I can't read with these ones. I can see great to drive, but I can't read. But I did find if you drive on the sidewalk, you run into far fewer cars. No, the clockwork elves are a whole different ball game. Adam, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day is going well. I've been working really like a lot. We found a glitch in Return to Paradise that we've been trying to track down where it was so we can get it straightened around. But the Watchers, this is an interesting group of people. Okay, it really is. And where are we here? This little book here. And what do we got? I just want to make sure I don't know if I've got the one change to it done. But I was going through this today, so we're about a third of the way done, so that works out well. About a third? Yeah, but just about a third of the way. There we go. Now, the nice part about it, there's a really neat thing with the watchers. Where are we here? Okay, Kevin Whippuff, how you doing? Oh, my sincere condolences. Well, that's just the luck of the draw there. I take it you don't know of the unwritten rule, and it applies to smoking into cigarette smoke as well. The smoke or the dust always goes back towards the non-smoker. But this is why they say don't spit in the wind, is you run into that problem. But again, all kidding aside, my sincere condolences. Yeah, I do feel for you there, Joe. Personally, I can't set foot in a dentist's office anymore. Never mind take my teeth in there with me. Ouch. Yeah, that's a little on the deep side there, Kevin. When I had my wisdom teeth out years ago, my healing rate is right off the charts, as you well know. But when I had my wisdom teeth out, they actually pulled out all four at once, and I was eating solid food the following afternoon. Doxy, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Boy, we filled up in a real hurry today, didn't we? Well, sort of. Barely got through the door. Right now, we've got 5 in the room, which is great. I mean, but I decided, I figured, okay, I've got my list of different get things put where they belong. Okay, I gotta get that done too. And okay, this is stuff I gotta get sorted around today, but get the stuff out of the way. Yes, I've got a lot of paperwork I was working on today. I actually haven't left the office to speak of. The funny thing is, Nathan, I thought the day was Tuesday, and my son thought today was Sunday. So apparently we have a little bit of a glitch going on. What's that? That's August. So they can go out of the way. We go all the way back over here. Pop it down there for the moment. But the way I look at it is this. It is Monday, so let's take a look at some of the alien things going on. Okay. Oh, by the way, Nathan is in, so we have to do, well, we don't have to. But this is the link to Nathan's live show. And unfortunately, the problem I keep running into is I keep tanking right after mine. Um, nicely put there, Nathan. This is the link to Nathan's show, so drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, come right out. Come right out, give him a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of it. Now, in my case, I've been real busy today, which is why I'm doing a little bit of puttering here, just trying to get things sorted out. Oh, I gotta show you something absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Give me 10 seconds. Okay, I just had to do that because I gotta show you something that was just blows my mind. And realistically, that doesn't take much. But went into the dollar store today. Now, you guys know I drink Coke. Probably not my brightest move, but it's better than snorting cocaine. But this little bottle in the dollar store was listed for $1.50 for this, which is not. I mean, it's a terrible price, but when you compare it to the grocery store, they have it on there for $2.25, and that's only 3 doors away. But here's the funny thing. Now, I'm not much of a marketer, obviously. But does this make any sense to anybody? This is $1.50. 2 shelves below it, this was $1.50. Now, does it make any sense at all from a marketing standpoint to do that? I mean, we are talking 2 shelves different. Net result, well, guess which one I bought. And we have Raven has just come through the door here. And therefore we go over here and we scroll down and we find Raven. Here we are. Now, Raven, I do believe you are trying to get another website up and running, if I remember correctly. Now, this is the link to Raven's show. So absolutely drop in, give her a listen. If you like what she has to say, give her a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. It's by this sharing, by this helping each other, that we are going to turn this world around. But it's going to take effort. Oh, excellent, Raven. Now, I'm presuming, what do we got here? Raven, I've only got the one I just posted. You've got another site up. If you would be kind enough to pop that into the chat room, that would be really appreciated. And see, in your case, I can actually get away with that. Because, well, frankly, you've got access to it. But, like I said, and again, for those of you that have not been here, and quite frankly, everybody I see here has been before. But if you've got a question, even if it's not on the topic we're talking about, absolutely, absolutely put your question in the chat room in all caps, preferably. Oh, Nathan, you're in the room. Forgot to take it with me today. But I gotta go out tomorrow anyway. And no, I'm not going to show your address. But that's the book. Okay, that's Races of the Worlds. It's going into the mail tomorrow. Should have gone today, but well, frankly, forgot to take it out when I went. But that will solve that problem. Now, like I said, watches are a really interesting little deal. Okay. There we are. Watches are an interesting deal. We refer to them as watchers, and I think somewhere around here I've got their actual name, but I gotta keep going through notes to find it. I do appreciate that, Nathan. The reality of it from my standpoint is this. Okay, I look at the watchers and go, okay, there's more information on them than what I put in this book. And I'm starting to pull stuff together to clear out a lot. Like I got rid of another stack of papers that's literally that thick today. When we look at the watchers we call them that because they don't interfere. Okay, they just don't interfere at all. Okay, they are literally simply recording information. And I got checking into it. And because the Zerziks have been around, well, since they've literally been around since the beginning of this rendition of the third dimension. Okay, and it seems that the Watchers do deal with them on a satellite base. As in, the Watchers pick up the information and then go back to the hub, to the information hub that the Zerziks are still running, and hand the information to them to work with. But all they do, they'll show up and they will simply observe. So if you see one of these watchers, which really basically look like black shadows, okay, if you see one, you may just see a set of eyes in the treetops, as it were. Okay, there's a couple other races that'll do that though. But a watcher is generally speaking just a black silhouette. Okay, whether it's daylight or nighttime, it's still a black silhouette. But all they do is watch what's going on. They don't offer insight, they don't offer guidance. They just simply watch. If you're going to walk into a wall, they will simply watch. And no, they won't laugh at you. That's for other races, humans included. But the watchers, what they do is they simply record information and relay it back so things can be kept on track. Okay. They are ultimately, when I talk about them being researchers, they really aren't. They are observers. Okay. Now, if you want to chalk that up as being research, absolutely have a happy. But when we look at them, they're, when I talk about them being friendly, it's more to the point they're not aggressive. Okay. Because they've got nothing to be aggressive about, essentially. So we have here, that's all organized. Keep that handy just in case I require it. This little piece of information goes over there. As you can see, I've got a whole pile of things going on. My office is just absolutely insane when it comes to the amount of work of different projects I got on the go. Okay, what do we got here? Okay. Oh, okay. Docs is going. My daughter and I observed a figure walking through our front room. She saw it as smoke, and oh, there we go. And I saw it as scintillating pixels. Now there is a plan. You've got a couple of possibilities there. Oh, um, there are other races that will watch. Okay, many will observe, but the watchers have a very specific purpose. And here's the real kicker to you. Yeah, you clearly do. Now I gotta ask you, Doxy, did you turn around and invite everybody to come in? Because that was where I made a maneuver. I just opened the doors and said, "Okay, guys, if you need a place to hole up, come on in, but quit scaring the daylights out of my kid." Okay, but I've ended up with a lot of residents that come in just to take a break, just to say hi. Okay, but here's the thing that's going to throw a bunch of you for a little bit of a loop. When you look at the watchers, they're always adults. They always stand around just watching, not doing anything, just standing on the sidelines, watching what's going on, or moving through. I take it that was not one of your wisest moves in your eyes then. Doxy just saying, that yeah, she did invite them. Now, if you and we'll get to that in just a few moments there, Doxy. There is a way to get rid of the problem children. Yeah, we're gonna say we can ruin our body before we die. No, not really. Now, there are a couple of possibilities, especially when you talk and Doxy, when you talk about the one that you saw that was scintillating pixels. 99% likelihood that was a Yumion. Okay, they are literally living light. You know, all we gotta do, guys, is set up a wormhole between the houses. And these guys can come and go without any real effort at all. In my case, it just doesn't bother me. You get used to the idea, and even my munchkin has come to the conclusion something goes missing. The odds are one of them took it. But watchers are they're pretty much always of an adult size. Okay, as in your 5.5 foot mark. Oh, Doxy, absolutely. The fact they're passing through does not mean you're in any danger at all. Okay. Um, because the spirits that come through, most of the time it's like for them, it's kind of like walking through a shop. Here's a person here, but as long as we leave the stuff alone, we're okay. It's like if you go down to the mall. you'll see a whole staggering pile of people come in. And for that matter, if you own a shop in the mall, whole pile of people come in. Right. They wander around and they leave. Some may talk to you, some may not. Well, the same thing happens when you're dealing with this kind of a setup. Yep, pretty much. That's the way I look at it, Nathan. I got a kick out of my ex one day. We were canning peaches, and the paring knife went missing. Like, she was looking at it, she turned around, turned back, and the knife was gone. She never blinked. She looks at the ceiling and she goes, "Look, if you're gonna take the paring knife, that's fine. But you're doing the canning. If not, put the thing back." She turned around and grabbed something else off the counter, and the paring knife was right back. Apparently, the spirits didn't actually want to do the canning. Yeah, Joe's go. My old farmhouse was built in 1913. That me and my parents live in. So yeah, it's haunted. Yeah, no doubt. But a haunting does not mean it's a bad place. Okay, it can add a whole new dimension to the reality of the world. You know, but when you look at watchers, now watchers are full grown people. They come in and they show up as adults. They usually keep their distance. Okay, when I mean adults, I mean 5.5, 6 feet tall. Basically the same size as humans. Yeah, ain't that always the fun part? You know, I forget who the author was, but there was an author that wrote a story called The Borrowers. Okay, about little people that lived in the floorboards. Okay, all of these stories, almost all of them, are based in some sort of reality. You know, one of the things with the watchers, and this is, I keep getting there and stopping myself. Okay, people consistently ask me, why are the black-eyed children here? Okay, well, the black-eyed children are here because the watchers are. You see, I only just pieced this together, or more to the point, found it written in my notes. Black-eyed children are the children of the watchers. Now, you'll notice watchers don't usually show their eyes at all. That paints an intriguing picture there, Doxy. You know, but yeah, black-eyed children are simply watchers that haven't grown up yet. But as with all children, black-eyed children will come into the room. They'll come into the room. They'll come close to a person and try and get a real close examination. Okay, but like some well-behaved children, they won't touch you, and they're not a threat. Okay, all these guys are doing is recording information and passing it back so reality can maintain a stable source. Philip, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And yes, Monday used to be referred to as Moon Day. Now, there are, of course, many people we know of that used to take that a little too literally. What do we got? Nathan goes, I've learned that my energy affects their energy, so I've started using that aspect. Oh, that can be a riot. That can absolutely be a riot. Once you figure out how to play with energy, you can have a lot of fun with them. And I do mean entertainment fun for both of you. Um, okay, number one, watchers don't eat flesh, period. Okay. Watchers subsist on energy. Okay. And they do subsist on the energy of life and death. Because what you may not realize is the amount of energy it takes to have a body decompose is a fair chunk. Okay, but this is why I say they feed on the energy of death. They don't feed on the people that have died. Well, here's the problem. Yes, some kids like humans. Some kids are mean. Absolutely. Okay, some kids are absolutely mean. But so you will have both positive and negative children. In other words, well behaved and misbehaved. This is part of life. Or is there another, there could be a subset absolutely of black-eyed children that quite frankly don't have adult guidance, which can create an interesting problem. You know, many people, if they don't understand something, basically, Nathan, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Many people, if they do not understand something, will fear it because humans have been taught that which you fear, that which you do not understand. Well, try it the other way. That which you do not understand, fear. That which you fear, strive to control. That which you cannot control, strive to destroy. And that which you cannot destroy, fear. This doesn't work well. Okay, it really doesn't. But when people come to realize this is part of what we're working on here, is letting you know that yes, some will have a bad attitude, some have had bad upbringings or bad experiences, and thereby are a little temperamental. But are they as a whole a negative entity? No. Now, Philip's asking, you mean like an energy vampire who tries to make you feel bad? Energy vampires are another issue altogether. And in all fairness, they actually come in multiple different races. Oh Lord, yeah. There absolutely are football. Football goes, are there more than one vampiric language? Absolutely. Okay. There absolutely are. So one of the things you have to realize because the Sanguinan operate in clans. Okay, and they do have an interesting hierarchical society. Okay, this is going to sound absolutely twisted, and the reality is Nathan may have the answer. I'm certain World would. Okay, there was a role playing game out called Vampire the Masquerade. Okay, Shadow, how you doing? Now I'm absolutely certain you remember this. Just trying to remember the role of the RPG called Vampire the Masquerade. Do you remember who actually put that game together? Yeah, and that's I mean talk about taking the idea of cheerleading to an extreme level. And yeah, Doxy, some are. As a matter of fact, when I was working the live fairs, it was funny because I was working the fairs and I was working beside another psychic. And I stopped and I looked at her and I says, "What are you doing?" And talk about a brilliant answer. She looks at me and she goes, "Oh, I'm just taking some of your excess energy." Right. And I looked at her and 30 seconds later she was out like a light. 4 hours down the road, which meant, by the way, she didn't make any money that day. She came too. Okay. But when she came to, she looks at me and she goes, "What happened?" I said, "Next time you're going to steal somebody's energy, you might want to make sure they don't control it." Somebody's brakes need repair. Oh, it's here, yeah. Oh, there we go. Um, yeah, I don't know where it came from either. I remember playing it for a while. The point being, if you're looking at the Singinan, at the AI Singinan, um, at their culture, literally take a look at that game. The guy did a bang up job on it. Psychic vampires are definitely a thing, but they are not a species. Okay. Psychic vampires are literally people that figured out how to do it. Football. There's a neat little trick there. Okay. When you go into the casino, okay, all you do is now you know about the bubble of white light. Clearly. Something else that you do though, put that bubble of white light around you. And if you choose to call it your imagination, for those of you who aren't entirely certain, put a bubble of white light around you, much like a glowing halo or a glowing sheath. And now that will protect you from the negative ambient energy. Okay, that other people that is there just because you're on the planet. But then you surround that bubble with mirrors facing away from you so that you're standing inside essentially a mirrored ball of light. That will reflect back the negative energy other people deliberately generate. Things like like psychic vampires really do not have fun with that because it knocks the energy back directly from who it came from. It's not like if the energy comes in an angle, it'll bounce. It's literally, it doesn't matter what angle it comes in at. It's going to come right back at the person doing it. But then you run real thick, healthy roots right from the soles of your feet straight to the core of the earth. This will bleed off the negative energy you personally generate, things like self doubt, self recrimination, that sort of thing. Um, yeah, absolutely, and that's what you're basically dealing with football. Is that person may already instinctively do it. Some people just naturally throw that shield up. Doxy, will a cleansing close portals in your home? Absolutely, yes. Okay, it absolutely will. Okay, now there's a couple of things you can do. Okay, one of the best things if you're going to clear your house, if you don't know how to do it yourself, that's not a real big problem. It's not complicated. Okay, but if you're looking to clear your house, the first thing you do, and again, you can do this in your mind, you don't have to do this out loud. Okay, but in your mind, you literally tell the people, okay, we're clearing the house out. Only those of the light are permitted to stay. Okay. And you'll notice I said of the light. Okay. And yeah, lemon fresh and sage work really well. So does cedar. You know, so ultimately you do that to start with. Then pick a room because what you're going to do is you're going to clear the house of all the negative, of all the complications. So quite literally, though you do not, when you start, okay, go around the house. Okay. I don't mean the outside, I mean you can do this going around the inside. Okay. But you start at your main entrance door. Do not seal the main door. Not yet. Okay. And you'll understand why in a minute. But you go around each door, each window, each light socket, and each plug. Okay, with the cleansing scent of your choice. Like I said, the two best ones I know of are sage and cedar. The answer to your question, I'll get to that in a little bit there, Joe. The answer is yeah, I do. Okay. And as a matter of fact, that's one of those ones that's a little complicated. But where did I put it? Get that book out of my way. And get this. That is something we are going to have to deal with. But yes, in all fairness, I absolutely know about them. So I'm just writing into my list of topics to deal with. I'm not sure how that now I'll come back to that, Philip. So what I'm going to do here is stop things from rolling. Okay, now once you've gone around the house and you've sealed, all you're doing is running the sage around it, and like I said, use the incense of your choice. Okay, as you seal each window, light socket, and electrical outlet. Okay, you start now. Number one, you're probably best if you've got more than one room and one floor. Start on the top floor. Seal everything. Okay. You go through the entire room, leave the access door open. Don't seal it. Start at the access door, work your way all the way around counterclockwise. Okay, around the room, sealing every door, every window, every light socket, every electrical outlet. When you get back to the door you're coming in through, that's when you step outside the door and seal the door. Okay, that way anything that you're removing, and again, all the way through it, keep running through your mind. Only those of the light may remain. Okay, they will flood out the exit door, and this is why you leave the front door open. Once you finish a room, move on to the next one, and again, we're going counterclockwise around the third floor if you've got one. Second floor if you don't, you get the picture. Now it can get a little tricky, and we'll get back to the issue of an attic in a minute. Okay, but when you finish one room, go to the next one in a counterclockwise fashion. Do the same thing. Start at the door you enter through. Go counterclockwise, hitting all of the access points, windows, doors, light sockets, electrical outlets. Okay. Seal all of those. Get back to the door, into the hallway again, and seal the door. Then you carry on. When you're done with the third floor, okay, do the same with the second floor. Okay, and repeat again. This is kind of like wash, rinse, and repeat. Because you're cleaning the entire house, but you keep that idea in your mind. Only those of the light may remain, because the ones that are of the light are not going to be problem children. Once you get done the main floor, that is now. Here's where it gets a little. We're going to take a minor break there. You get done down to the main floor. Okay, before doing the main floor, take into consideration if you have a basement, do the basement before sealing the main floor. Because now you're going to chase the people out of the basement, up into the main floor, and then you're going to corral them out the front door. Okay. Once you get the main floor done, you step outside the house, you seal the door from outside. Okay. This way, you've chased everybody out of the house. Now you can, oddly enough, at least you might think it's odd, you can do the exact same maneuver around your property. Although I do caution you, if you live in an apartment building, they may look at you a little weird. Okay, so hopefully that will help. But again, talk about going sideways. Again, we are talking about eliminating, about removing those or evicting those, if you will, that are not of the light. Okay, now, just gonna go back up here. Hopefully that helps you guys understand what's going on. Okay, now I'm behind a little because I lock everything in place. Philip, you've asked, how does one observe a Monday that follows Friday the 13th, occurring in October? Um, in my opinion, you observe it the same way you do any other Monday of the week. Well, you only get one Monday in one day, Monday per week. So any other Monday of the month. There is no functional difference. The reality of it is that Friday the 13th, a lot of people have negative thoughts about it, but that's because of what 13 came to represent, not because of the number itself. Because you got to remember, the number 13 itself, if you follow Pythagorean numerology, 13 breaks down to 4, which is foundation, okay, or stability. If you follow universal numerology, what I work with, then 13 breaks down to a 2. That is choice. From your standpoint, 13 simply, from my standpoint, 13 boils down to, you got a whole pile of information. Now you've stepped into the next stage of your life. Okay, where you now are choosing what you're up to. So, would I look at Friday the 13th with, or the days after, with any sense of shall we say, malcontent? Not at all. Okay. Now what do we got here? Whoop. There we are. Oh, there you go. Raven is just suggesting Palo Santo can be used as well, and smells much better than sage. I'm lucky I don't have much of a sense of smell. Yeah. Now what do we got here? Oh, what do we got? Just scrolling up a bit because I obviously missed something. Okay, way too far back. I never have luck. I seldom have luck with that. Okay, now what do we got? Yeah, we could go all sorts of shadowy places with that shadow. But I think we should avoid that. Oh, that's excellent, Emmy. Emmy's just saying my late neighbor was an Alaskan native. She taught me how to smudge a house. You know, and the method I use, by the way, the method I just described, that's the one I personally use. Okay, there are a lot of different techniques. So do not take that as that's the only one that you can work with. Okay, now, yeah, well, the question is how many, how many strippers delivered candygrams to them. The question is how many of them got to leave after they got there. Okay, now what do we got? Yeah, 13. And I found that out today too. They had a whole shindig up on Taylor Swift today. You know, frankly, I don't mind her music at all. Of course, I've got very simple tastes. I figure if you're going to listen to music, if somebody's going to write a song, would you mind writing one that I can hear the words to? Okay. And if there's no words, then just keep the level at a level I can hear past. Shadow goes, but but I live in the shadows. They're my best buds. Yeah, I can relate to that. I've stayed away from people for a lot of reasons. See, I get a kick out of it. Like I was born on the 13th. So I kind of look at it a little biased. If it weren't for the 13th, well, I wouldn't be here. Or I wouldn't be the same way because let's face it, everything changes when you change the name side of it. I swear somebody's gonna try and make it that. But as far as I know, Philip, no. As far as I know, Taylor Swift today is not Taylor Swift Day. But she is apparently doing a smashing job on both the charts, the concert attendance, and now movie attendance. You know, so she is absolutely making headway. Philip, I'm gonna throw a wrench, but you were born on the fourth one. And the reason I say that is inside the sun's photosphere, and don't take my word for it. Look it up. I found it by accident poking around on NASA's site years ago. But I do have the ephemeris for it in my possession. There is a planet inside the sun's photosphere, making it closer to the sun than Mercury. Okay, that planet is called Vulcan. And yes, NASA knows about it. But this means this is the fourth planet from the sun, not the third one. And of course, sometimes it's the fifth, depending on the orbit of Carina, which it comes in at a 30-degree angle off the ecliptic. Okay. The outermost reach is somewhere close to the orbit of Jupiter. Okay, in between Jupiter and Mars. The inner reach, okay, the inner reach is either just this side, the Earth side of Mercury, or the Sun side of it. Um, Philip, yeah, there absolutely is. Okay, why we're not told about it, I don't know. Okay, like I said, there is actually Vulcan, Carina, which, by the way, is the actual ruler of Cancer. Okay, and then there's this other neat little planet called Mobius. But Mobius is in the exact same orbit as Earth, just on the other side of the sun. There's a lot going on that we haven't been told about. And this is the funny part of where the watchers come in. They record all of this, take it back to the great hub in order to organize things. Okay. Like there is a lot going on. And why pray tell? That's just annoying. We are looking at a lot of information that has not been handed out properly. working on that. But like I said, the watchers are they simply record what's going on. Okay. It's not a question of them going, oh, I'm going to report what I'd like. They literally report it all. Oh, Philip, that's an easy one to identify. I actually just mentioned it. If you can find a way to get the Mobius, and good luck with that, Mobius it is humans 50,000 years ago, and even up to 40,000 years ago. They were living on Earth. Okay, there were over 10 billion of them. Okay, more than 10 billion of us lived on Earth. No fear, well, minimal fear, no greed, no jealousy, no war. Okay, it was absolutely phenomenal. There was a little bit of envy, but that boiled down to, oh, you know how to do that. Can you show me? Because I'd really like to do that as well as you do. Okay, difference between jealousy and envy. Envy says, I'm not looking down on you, but I'd like to be able to do what you can. Okay, which is something that, yes, I am working on things to start actually teaching people that, to do what I do. Oh, Joe, in answer to your question, the answer is yes. Okay. You'll hear me periodically, I'll say, I'm being told such and such. This usually takes place when I'm doing a reading for somebody, when I'm sitting down doing a consultation. But if I say I'm being told such and such, I'm literally being told whatever it is. Okay. In this case, it was simply a reclamation of the existence of Mobius and what the whole purpose there is. Now, the whole thing with Mobius is there is no war. They have no interest in it. Okay, because they found out what humans apparently have missed. That war does not bring peace. War has never brought peace. It does bring quiet, but that's because who wants to make noise if somebody's trying to shoot you? Philip, you do. Okay. The reality is you're breathing. Everybody, as far as I've ever seen, everybody has at least one spirit guide. Most have more than one. Okay, but everybody picks up and gets one when you first take on corporeal form, or a different form for that matter. And you're going to have to pardon me because vertigo is a royal pain in the neck. But that's just something that you guys have had to come to realize. Let's get some of this out of the way because it's really annoying me that it's still all there. What's this? Oh, that's the writing that I'm working with. That goes there. And we come over here. This is a whole pile of articles that I've got. Okay, that I've got to start dealing with. Now we take that October. We'll fold that up, put it back where it belongs, because that way I don't have to worry about it later. Fortunately, I know what I'm actually working on. That goes there, and that gets that out of the way. But oh yeah, Philip, all the time. Okay. Where are we here? What do we got here? See, the thing, one little point there, Philip. Okay, tonight. Okay, tonight. Sit down. Okay, sit down and find a comfortable place while you're awake. While you're wide awake. Sit down, find a comfortable place, and literally in your mind's eye, thank your guides for showing them to you, for revealing themselves to you in a way that you can both accept and understand. Okay. You know, that is the easiest way to open the door. Now here's the kicker. Okay. When and we just had this conversation the other day with Joe, okay, who just started hearing his, and all of a sudden the gates came open. Now, something to keep in mind, okay, if there's a very simple outlook of this. Okay, you may chalk it up to your imagination to start with. Okay, but with that in mind, the imagination is the key to starting that understanding. Now, this is stuff that I've got to make sure. Yeah, I know I'm doing something else sideways. The Watchers, on the other hand, when you look at the Watchers, okay, they will, if you ever see one, don't worry, they are not a threat. Neither are the black eyed children, by the way. Priorities. Black eyed children, like I said, your black eyed children are simply young Watchers, which means they're a lot more curious. They tend to be a lot more curious and a lot more adventurous than what the Watchers themselves are. But the Watchers have figured out, okay, we keep our distance and we observe. Children, as you're well aware, are a curious batch to start with. Okay, that is necessary for there. Pop that there. That way we can get it all organized. And all of this, take all this stuff and put it over here where I'm working on it. Because that way I don't have to try and figure it out later. See, now I've got my bed cleared. That's always the bonus. No, I'm not going to bed yet. Sorry. Not going to happen. Yeah, and that's just it. Okay. I've got to start looking into that sort of thing, but well, that's all right. And Doxy's going, I have a dude who appears to wear large sunglasses. He's an older guy. And the neat part about the one thing to be aware of where it comes to spirit guides. Okay. And yes, but I know we're going sideways again. In case you hadn't noticed, this seems to be normal. Okay, but a spirit guide will never tell you to do something to hurt yourself, encourage you to do something to hurt somebody else or yourself, doesn't matter. They will not tell you that you're going to go to hell if you don't stop doing something. They will never threaten you. Spirit guides don't do that. There are entities that will, but that's not one of them. Yeah, pretty much, Nathan. It's funny. I talk zero point energy, you talk quantum, and we seem to be on the same page. You know, but when you start comparing, like and by the way, and in all fairness there, Nathan, and for those of you that already have it, you'll get a kick out of this. Yldrbac will be en route tomorrow because they got to go out and pick up some paperwork anyway. But the other one in here, I've got them listed as the watchers. And if we take a look at this, we just scroll back into the watchers here. Right near the back. Because, okay. Now, watchers are an energy field. That's it. Okay. But when you take a look at them, they literally take the form of humans to try and they basically do it to create as little stress as they can get away with. That's the whole reason why they look humanoid, is because it makes it a little less intimidating, or at least that's what they're aiming for. Okay, the other thing you'll find with watchers, and it's a similarity that I noticed with black-eyed children. You notice black-eyed children don't seem to stand on the ground either. You know, that was sort of the thing. That was sort of one of the things that twigged me to the idea that these guys were related. Yeah. Phelps goes, the FBI wants men with large sunglasses. Yeah, well, there's a lot. You got to remember something there, Philip. Be careful what you're reading there. Okay. And the reason I say that is because humans are known to really propagate the idea of fear. Let's get you to fear everything you don't fully understand. Now, Nathan's going here. A guy videoed an entity standing for 2 hours at the end of his doorway. Had to tell him that entity was not a person there. It was a paranormal. Oh, yeah. And I'm presuming that means, Nathan, you had to tell him. Maybe I've just misread that. But yeah, there are times when people will not recognize that they've actually got a visitor or a haunting or something to that effect. The shadow, the watchers are not harmful. Now, that being said, okay, when you look at the Singinan, okay, they too are shadowy by appearance most of the time, although they've been known to do all sorts of neat little things. Yeah, and once in a while I'll do that myself. You know, Nathan just going, it was definitely paranormal. I had to leave a comment. Well, you didn't have to, but it was kind of recommended. At least I don't think you had to, but I certainly understand why you did. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, so when we look at the watchers, understand they are information gatherers. Okay. You know, they are simply pulling information together because you got to remember when this rendition of reality collapses, and you'll notice I said when, okay, they desire all the information they can get. And by the way, watchers and black-eyed children are not only present on Earth. They're on all the other planets as well, which cannot be said the same for every race. But for those ones in particular, absolutely. Well, that's all, yeah. See, I don't watch the news, so I really don't have anything to functionally comment there. But there's no question there is a lot more going on in the metaphysical field, in the UFO field, that people are recognizing now and are subsequently reporting. Still haven't gotten around to finishing emptying this off. But when we take a look at your black eye at the watchers, okay, understand something. Number one, they are not a threat at all. As a matter of fact, they are absolutely non-violent with anybody. Okay. Of course, if you try and capture them, you could have a bit of a problem. They're also non-corporeal, meaning physical entrapment will work. Okay. Now, what we're looking at when you're studying the watchers, if you sit and watch them, what we got here? See, if you watch the watchers, you can note different patterns. They will, when something catches their attention, they won't turn their head to look at it. And that's one of these things you got to realize. With a watcher, they do not, they'll stand there, they'll stand there looking at you. And then if they want to see something over there, they don't go like this. They literally will turn. Now, I can't do it as smoothly because I got to keep my feet on the ground. And if I suddenly disappear from here, odds on my leg gave up. Okay, but watchers, number one, will not make contact, as in physical contact. The odds of them acknowledging you're there is, the odds are not good. But your black-eyed children, basically, you're dealing with child with watcher children that are definitely curious enough to start approaching. They still are reluctant to make contact simply because of the fact that their energy and yours may not be as compatible as you might like. Okay? Or as they might like for that matter. So we're dealing with a race of people that simply go around collecting information. But these guys' purpose is to go back to the grand hub, which is controlled and governed by the Yldrbacs. Now, the Yldrbacs came from the last rendition. They are the only species that does come from one rendition to the next. Correction, they're the only species I know of. Okay, but they come from the last rendition to this one. What you guys call the Big Bang is a recurring theme. Okay, so, I mean, this is one of those things that we look at. And yes, by the way, I will be one of the things I'm adding to the Watcher file, to the Watcher document part of Race of the Worlds is their link to Black Eyed Children. In a nutshell, Philip, you know what a black hole is. Okay, I presume you know what a black hole is. Okay, everything goes into a black hole. Okay, gets broken down into its subquantum particulates and then sent out the other side. But this is an ongoing process. This is not something that happened once, okay, and goes on. What it is, where that hole, it started with one big bang. If you're Christian, you follow that side of it. Okay, then when what you would know as God, he is the one, and I'll use the term he loosely. He is the one that opened up the gateway between his last version of reality and these 12 dimensions. Okay, but you'll notice it says very clearly he created the light, then he created the stars. So the light clearly wasn't coming from the stars. Oops. Yeah, what you're dealing with there, yeah, what you're dealing with there, Doxy, is you're certainly dealing with a child spirit. Here's the thing, okay, that child likely does not know their own strength. No doubt the dog doesn't like being touched. I mean, let's face it, the dog can't exactly track it well. In case you're wondering why I keep getting up, it's because my back is absolutely playing havoc today. I'm gonna have to wait for that to roll up. Oh, okay. I get a kick out of it, Philip, because you've just said here that it's always no, sorry, Kevin goes, it's always the devil's carnival here on Earth. Funny part is, it's not only the devil's carnival, but humans carnival. It's the Angeles carnival. You name it. This is a wonderful playground, and it's up to you whether we take this planet and turn it back into what amounts to the Garden of Eden, or we turn it into an absolute nightmare. You know, I'm looking at a lot of this. You got to remember, much of what we have been taught. Now, first of all, we've been taught it by our parents for obvious reasons, by our parents or society. They are simply passing on what they know. Okay. For me, it was a little odd. My dad flat out kept trying to tell me to keep what I do a secret. Okay. Because I saw things in a different fashion. Now, that being said, it creates its own complications. But when I keep coming back to the issue of the watchers, something you remember. Watchers take an overview. Absolutely. It's your black eyed children that come running into the houses. And no, they are not on the whole malevolent. There is no one species that you can effectively say is evil or is malevolent. Okay, we're looking at multiple personalities, thankfully, usually in multiple bodies. Yeah, and well, that's the whole thing, Kevin. How you look at this world and what you do with it is what will determine whether or not you're living in Eden or you've been deposed. Okay, but and this is why I keep coming back with this message that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Because the reality is, by doing that, we can have peace on earth. Absolutely. There are the people in power that are pushing for war, that are pushing for segregation. But it's not just the people in positions of power. I see common people every day finding new and exciting ways to isolate themselves and others from each other. Okay, to me, it's just a bizarre way of looking at the world. Um, Philip, just a real simple note for you. The only time that a secret is if only one person knows it. Well, that is very true. You know, the reality of it is this. We have this wonderful opportunity here. There's a lot of really weird things according to human ken. There is a lot of interesting things going on that actually make this a very exciting place. But it's up to you to start working with it. Now, before I go any further here, let me just see something. Take that because it's got to go. I brought that just to show you the marketing side. What do I got here? Ah, okay. Yeah, right now we're dealing with watchers. Like I said, I get a kick out of the black-eyed children, and the number of times that somebody tells me, "Oh," you know, the number of times that the people have told me, "Oh, these are evil people." That's like looking at a Caucasian, looking at a black person, looking at an Oriental, going, "Because of your skin color, you're evil." Chad, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I know your life has been busier than heck lately. And guys, this is the link to Chad Smith's archives. So absolutely drop in, give them a listen. If you like what he has to say, do subscribe to the channel. It'll simply make it easier to find it. Give it a thumbs up. Whoop, there we are. The neat part there, Kevin, is inner peace is actually brought by the individual, as in, and I sought it for years. I was looking for peace of mind, also known as inner peace. You know when I finally found my inner peace? When I finally quit worrying about things, aside from my finances right now. Thank you so much on behalf of Chad there, Doxy. You know, guess where it was that I found the closest thing to inner peace that I have experienced this lifetime. Okay. Now, am I perfectly at peace? No. I got a pile of clutter around me I'm not happy with. I've got finances that are not doing what they should. Okay. But they are doing exactly what finances will. Finances don't care how you feel. They respond to what you do. Period. Oh, as you can tell, I've been clearing up things because this sort of gives me a chance to do so. But when we focus on the similarities between people, and I do mean when I say people, I also mean, oh, that was a different noise. I do mean any species you're dealing with. Well, that's an interesting take on it there, Philip. And again, what people do with their own time, I don't worry too much about. As long as you're following karmic law, you should be on the right track. Okay. Because the reality of it is this: we all have to abide by the same karmic laws. Oh, there you go. Chad, and this is just my 2 cents for what that's worth. I strongly recommend you take him up on it. You know, and be aware things get a little chaotic, much like they do here. But every time I've been on the show with Nathan, it has been an absolute riot. You know, sometimes it gets off to a little bit of a bumpy start, but it's certainly well worth attending. You know, the neat part about it is, and I haven't seen anybody pull this off directly yet. I know that there have been the people who've seen entities behind me, and that's just plain normal for me. But I don't think I've heard of any chat room of any live stream that has managed to call a non-corporeal into an interview. It would be entertaining in some ways. I'm just not silly enough to make the effort myself. I have enough trouble with computers. I don't need to add that to it. What do we got? Honestly, Philip, I have no idea. Okay. I can find out easy enough, but where are we? Yeah, we'll work with that. Let's do that. We go. Who is mayor of Kelowna, BC? There we are. The mayor of Kelowna, BC right now is a chap by the name of Tom Dias. Other than that, I can't tell you a thing. Okay, because I don't follow the politics here at all. What do we got here? Yeah, there is. But, yeah, I noticed that there, Philip. But that one's actually got an explanation. If I go back here, that bright light goes away. Okay, there it goes. And now the bright light's gone. Okay, but now I can't see what I've got on the table. But sometimes the apparent paranormal isn't quite so paranormal. I wonder, because I don't think you can read this. And let's see how that works. Nope. That's the on air sign. If I turn it on, you can't read it at all. So we turn that off and leave it off. And turn the light back on. Now we got that bright light, that bright white light above us. There you go. And now you've seen electricity in action. Right here, live on live on YouTube. What do we got? Nathan goes, we had trace trolls that followed me there from other shows. Yeah, there are many times that unfortunately will happen. I gotta ask Chad just because I'm nosy. But what drew you away from YouTube, if you don't mind my asking? That might be opening a can of worms. Yeah. Joe goes, I flunked science in high school, if that makes up for it. See, I was thrown out of chemistry and out of biology. Okay, but not because I did something wrong. It was more to the case because I didn't register something else. What, pray tell? I'm guessing Rumble is another social media outlet. Yeah, it's weird. You know, people won't. The companies won't pay people enough to survive on, but they insist on making them work longer than the normal hours. You know, the reality is, if you pay people properly, they work better. It's just a weird thing. But like I always keep an eye open for the Watcher's course. In my case, and things are a little different. I've always been able to communicate with them, but then you got to remember, I remember my life as a Xerxes. Okay. Oh, by the way, something I forget who asked it. Somebody a while back tonight asked what was the last rendition. Well, it was kind of similar to this one. Okay, they still had the evolution of different planets and what have you. Some of the races were a little different, but all in all, you're looking at simply take reality and paint a new mural with it. Phil goes, I had a flunky science teacher in high school. The only teacher who was so boring and repetitive, I fell asleep when it was not at all time. Yeah, that is. A college instructor like that. Only I didn't fall asleep. I just failed. Mind you, it may not have been his fault I failed. I got really good at ping pong, which we played in the college hall in the college entryway. I don't remember what they called it, but there was a great big open area. We had 3 ping pong tables set up. And I'll tell you, you want a difficult game of ping pong, play ping pong on 3 different tables. And I don't mean with 3 different opponents. I mean 3 different ping pong tables where you can play and where you can bounce the ball off of table 1 all the way over onto table 3. More like playing ping pong on a tennis court. Well, ping pong was a lot of fun. So much more fun than the accounting course I took. You know, the neat part about all of this is we've got all this new information coming up. Okay, all these new outsides. Well, yeah, a foosball I never did take to. Pool, on the other hand, I got pretty good at. I remember one day I came in, it was the dead of winter. So I came in. Guy looked at me as I come through the door. I was a regular at this one little pool hall. And a guy came in, guy met me at the door. He says, "Want to challenge you $50 for a game." I should have taken him up on it. I said, "Look, I get to clear the table once. I got to warm up a bit." He goes, "1 rack." I should have taken him up on the game. 18 shots later. Okay, and I cleared the table completely. Yeah, I mean, I understood foosball. It's just I never took to it. Pool, on the other hand, was another issue. I don't play it now, but that's because I don't have a pool table. And I don't go down to the pool halls. You know, but one thing you can count on. You go into some of these bars that are dimly lit, or some of these pubs, pool halls, that sort of thing. Walk into the door, look to the darkest corner. Okay. And quite often you look to the darkest corner up in the top, and you'll find a watcher sitting there, just hanging around watching what's going on. Literally speaking, that is what they do. Um, Unfortunately, Kevin, shuffleboard died out somewhere around about 40 years ago. You still get the occasional person, okay, but the people that really played shuffleboard, most of them literally passed away, and it wasn't something that carried on. Okay, some games fade into the background. Okay, but the reality of it is they can be brought back. Although apparently we are not getting lawn darts back. That was comical. Put a sharp, pointy stick, put a weight on the end of it, and throw it across the yard. Oh, hey Terry, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a long time. I don't believe. But in all fairness, watchers, no, they don't have much of a sense of humor. They observe. They do not interact. They do cause interaction by showing up on occasion, but do they enjoy scaring people? No. Yeah, from what I gather, the reason the reason lawn darts were taken off the deck was because, and I only say this because that's what he was. No disrespect intended to anybody, but apparently a really drunk American individual got absolutely blitzed, took a lawn dart, threw it right up in the air, and watched for it to come down. For some weird reason, it killed him. Now you got to remember, a lawn dart used to have, if I recall the weight correctly, a lawn dart used to have about a half pound of weight on it. Now you throw that 40 feet in the air that lands on your head with or without a spike, it's going to kill you. Absolutely not, Philip. Remember that thing about they don't interact? Cupid is constantly interacting. Okay. But I do like the way you put that, Philip. Shuffleboard is iceless curling. You're also not allowed to stand on the shuffleboard table. It won't take the weight. Yeah, but then Bigfoot have a sense of humor. You know, we're just saying Bigfoot thinks it's funny to scare people. Well, and part of that is a test. They're still working on, as you well know, staying hidden is an ongoing effort. But you notice, world, can go away. Unknown callers I don't have much use for. Not normally. But I'll check that out because right now, what I don't know is if that was somebody else. So I will have to check that. But like I said, if I'm on air, the only 3 calls I will answer, right, is either one of my kids and my other half. Other than that, the phone will not stay there. Philip, I've covered this before, and that's okay. Take a sheet of paper, okay? Literally write down what you consider the perfect partner, okay? Write down as specific as you can. I put 50 things on the list. Yeah, I remember that. The 2 movies there. Yeah, well, that's just it. Because if they don't scare you, okay, the Bigfoot will absolutely start playing with you. But Bigfoot, and this is why I say when people say, "Oh, I had a violent interaction with a Bigfoot." No, I doubt very much you did, unless you shot one of his friends first. Yeah, you'd have to have the originals. I don't think you can get them anymore. Mind you, in my case, I don't even have a set of darts. I remember we used to have a set of styrofoam balls that worked like a dartboard. And, my kid sister had a bad habit of leaving them on the floor. And one day she got running around, 1 foot onto them, and really, the dartboards, they were hard plastic because they used styrofoam balls, right? And I mean, it's kind of like putting a bungee board on the bottom on the floor. So my sister goes running through the house, 1 foot on the spike board, 2 foot on the spike board, face plant. Not an enjoyable thing. What is that? Yeah, world goes. Yeah, it's sweet. A game from way back when people were assumed to be adults and liable for their own stupid actions. Yeah, nowadays there is so much gone sideways, and mind you, it does give a lot of opportunity to hand information back on the way society is. You know, I mean, we can pull society apart in no time, and I am debating whether to do that one day. Okay, aside from, I will, like I said, Semper Fi there, Black Dragon. Glad you could join us. Like I said, I will not tangle head on with the church, with government regulation, okay, or or politics on the whole. It doesn't work well for me. Yeah, and Jen are another really fun little group. Yeah, we used to it was funny, when I was growing up, we used to play combat frisbee. The idea was not to throw the frisbee to the person, it was to throw the frisbee at the person, and if you could hit them, you got a point. You know, but no, when we talk about going sideways, completely off track, the thing we have to remember when you're talking about something called, and I will find the name for it eventually, when you talk about something, that is called a watcher. Okay. You're talking about a non-interactive. Okay. They create a bit of a disturbance when they show up. But that's not their intention. It's just the way it tends to work. Okay. But one of the things I do recommend, and this is why I've been working on all this stuff here, you know, if you're going to change the way your life is, if you desire to see more of your spirit guides and what have you, the better you treat the people around you, the more likely the spirit guides are to show up. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is why I love that one site, the Darwin Awards. It's fabulous in my eyes. Okay. Of course, I grew up with people that almost won the Darwin Awards. Difference was they actually survived. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, I had a couple of bullies that I knew of, and they bullied me all the time. So I was quite pleased with the whole thing. They got their kite caught in the high wire. Now, as you know, um, you know, the answer to your question there, Philip, I know, but the game usually came to a stop. Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. I fully agree with you there. The thing that I look at is this. I think, like I was saying, I had a couple of kids that were absolutely bizarre. Okay. They got their kite. Now, bear in mind, they were only 11, 12 years old. They got their kite stuck in the high wire. Now, does anybody know what the rule of thumb is? If a child gets, or if an adult gets their kite stuck in the power lines? Any idea at all what the basic rule of thumb is? Because it existed back then. Oh yeah. I mean, let's face it. You go to the slide. It was straight metal, and boy, did you come down that thing in a hurry because you didn't want to sit on it for very long. What do we got here? Yeah, gotta be careful there. Um, but no, these two, they got their kite stuck in the wire, and it wasn't bad enough that they took a rake. Okay, that they, and I don't mean a rich kid, I mean a medieval rich kid. I mean, they took a rake, as in a garden rake. It wasn't bad enough that they had to grab a garden rake. These two geniuses grabbed a metal handled garden rake to dig the string out. Well, that would work there, Black, but they usually frowned on that too. But no, these geniuses used a metal handled garden rake to try and get their kite back. Well, it worked out really well. The kite came out. Of course, the kite burned to a crisp. See, yeah, we used to cut golf balls open when I was growing up. Golf balls were filled with elastic. It was great. But I tell you, I don't know how they pulled it all together, but it didn't really matter. But the more, when we're looking at, sometimes sitting and watching the world is extremely useful. Okay. I avoid watching a lot of it. But as I told somebody the other day, work absolutely fascinates me. I can sit and watch it for hours. Yeah, I'm not sure about that part. But these kids were not the brightest people I'd ever run into. Although one of them down the road ended up about 3 years later became one of my best friends. But yeah, let's get back to that, shall we, there, Joe? Because I agree with you. Joe's just going, Philip, good luck with that special someone in your life. Okay. And then, like I said, put the list. Be as picky as you like. In my case, I put 50, as in 50 items on the list, including what type of movies the individual would like. How they would like to dress, how they would, the fact that they would accept me as is. Okay. Be picky. Okay. You can pick hair color, whatever. The only stipulation, the only, the only hindrance there, do not put somebody's name on it. And, because it interferes with freedom of choice. Putting somebody's birth date on it limits your choice way too tight. Yeah, a friend of mine had one like that too. Yeah, that's not necessarily the brightest way of doing it. Mind you, I knew one kid that his mother had said, make sure you cut the lawn short. Well, the kid went out and two kids went out, one was pushing. The other one watched the grass come out from under the lawnmower. And the grass was this long. So what did this munchkin do? Grabbed a handful of long grass and stuffed it back in the same hole while the lawnmower was running. Oh yeah, but yeah, and again, you gotta be really careful. We used to do that. As a matter of fact, there was a Halloween there, Black Dragon. Everybody in the neighborhood was lighting off fireworks. What did my friends and I do? Well, we were gamers, so we lit off pipe bombs. Much better impact. You know, didn't do any damage because we knew what we were doing with them. But again, whether you're dealing with physical stuff or you're dealing with meeting new peoples, get to know the ground rules. Okay, and again, when you're dealing with other people, it is absolutely imperative that you do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. The watchers will simply watch what you're up to. They don't take offense, they don't get mad, Matter of fact, you may not get a whole lot of reaction aside from there one moment and then all of a sudden gone the next. You won't see them drift away. They'll just blink out of existence. But that's because they can work with the energy that way. You know, black-eyed children, by the way, locking your doors at night will not stop a black-eyed child. Okay, it's an interesting concept, but locks don't work that well on somebody that can walk through walls. What do we got here? Well, first and foremost, you can do that, but there's one little hiccup. Okay, Phil's just going, if I wrote 50 descriptions, put them in chat, and asked it to write a happy romance for me, I wonder what would happen. I'm afraid it will tell me error does not compute. Let me put it this way. There was a guy in the States, and we know he was a multimillionaire only for one reason. He took a national, now this would be back in the 70s, he took a national newspaper in the US and took out a full page ad. That's why I say he was a national and that he was a multimillionaire. A full page ad. Across the top, it said, looking for a wife. Then he listed off 100 qualifications. Okay. At the bottom, he goes, if you do not match each and every one of these items, do not call. Right. Well, he ended up married. I only put 50. I'm going to end up married. Okay, I'm just waiting for the individual to get across the border. But rest assured when I tell you that there is somebody out there that will fill those needs, that will match that set. Okay, they may not be from your area. By the way, one thing I do encourage you to do, very important here, and many people, matter of fact, I know one in particular did this and didn't put this qualifier in. Okay, absolutely. If you're picky about gender, absolutely specify what gender you desire that relationship to take the form of. Because I knew one, I have a client, she did exactly what we told her. Okay, or in this case, it was what we told him. Told him to write it all down. You didn't have to show it to anybody. Write it down, put it in your drawer out of the way so you don't have to worry about it. It's already there. Well, the mistake he made was he did not specify the gender. The guy was heterosexual. The absolutely perfect match showed up on his doorstep about 6 months later. Problem, they too were male, which didn't bother the guy, but it certainly created a problem for my client. But this is just one of those neat little things that it's kind of like gravity. You don't have to believe it works. Okay. You know, you don't have to believe it works for it to work. Okay. It's just a question of making certain that you get clear in your own head what you're aiming for. Now, one thing that I am going to be doing, and I've already got information written down here that I've got to add to the watchers. Okay. And that is their connection to the black-eyed children. You know, the one thing that we have to remember here, all of these races that I deal with, or all these ones I talk about, it is from firsthand experience I end up dealing with them. It's not a question of thinking about it and figuring it out. Although I will tell you, the conflict comes up because of the work I'm writing. People keep going, well, you're just making the races up. Yeah, no. Okay. I get way too much confirmation of the things I've seen and the different attitudes and personalities I've been born witness to chalk it up to just a imagination thing. Yeah. Yeah, Raven just going, world, your not so bright friend must have been quite the sight to see. Absolutely. You know, I believe you could have sung the sign "You light up my" in the song "You light up my life," and it would have made perfect sense. I do feel for people that make that kind of move. Ah, okay, I do appreciate that again, there, Joe. Pentagrams are a very powerful tool. Now, I'm not going to show one here. I don't think I'm. No, I don't. Actually, I can show you for those of you that don't. Let me stop and think for half a second. I just need to grab this, aka a piece of paper and a pen. Okay. Now, okay. What have we got? Yeah. By the way, Joe, I did actually mark it down on this sheet here that tracks what different topics I've got. I've got it listed there to come up as a full show. But now there's a lot more to this. But for those of you that don't know, that's a pentagram. Okay. That was a quick showing, wasn't it? Here's the thing. When you're building a pentagram, if you set it up this way, it's a very powerful positive energy field. If you set it up this way, it becomes a whole lot more complicated. Okay. And it's quite often used for a whole pile of negative things. Now, where are we here? Now, I'm going to show you another one here that's even more powerful. This one is an even more powerful sigil. Okay, that's the seven-pointed star, also known as the fairy star. And again, with the 2 points down, you're dealing with a very powerful positive energy. You turn around and start working with this way, you could have some interesting side effects. Pentagrams have been used to draw the power of humanity together. No, no, a pentagram itself is a symbol for humanity. Okay, when you invert it, people tend to use it. The people that tend to invert it are doing so with the intention of creating a problem. Raven's just filling us in here. Pentagrams are not evil. They are a symbol for many things. Archangel Raphael, Mary Magdalene, and Wicca. You know, yeah, I like the fairy star personally, but pentagrams are not a symbol of evil. The symbol has been corrupted in a lot of ways for use inside a summoning circle or for doing all sorts of other negative things. Oh, there we go. World goes, that one is hard to draw. Okay. Although Swiss metal band Celtic Frost uses a 7-pointed star in their logo. And again, the star itself, whenever you look at stars, you're looking at at a rendition for positive energy. Yeah. Philip goes, the Pentagon, War Defense Department, is shaped like an upside down pentagram with a torn facing. And the silly part there that might give you a hint as to just what it can be used for. Okay, but I haven't picked a day there, Joe, but I am going to be looking into it. I've got it on the list. Oh, I haven't got those filled out yet. Maybe I should do that before I tie this off completely. Put that there for a second. We have now tomorrow we're going to take a look. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so we're going to take a look at the impact of gaming on the real world. And what I mean by that is how the imagination can be put to use to fuel the change in your life. Okay. And like World. Now, has been game mastering for 50 years. Okay. 80. Yeah, I didn't game master as long. I'm back game mastering again, and the guys are having a hoot with it. But except one guy, he's being a pain in the neck. But I've been game mastering since no, that was before him. So that means no, I got here in 80. Yeah, I started game mastering in early 1981. So you got me longer there, World. Okay. I may have been gaming longer than you. What have we got there? Absolutely, Raven. See, I also look at that as the 5 points indicating the 5 senses. Philip, if more people were playing Dungeons and Dragons or that kind of game, if they could transfer their anger onto the gaming table, we would have a lot less wars, in my opinion, or at least it's a wonderful fantasy. And don't interrupt my reality with my fantasy with reality. It just doesn't work well. But on Tuesday we're going to look at the impact of gaming as in the enhancement of the imagination on the real world. Okay. Then on the 18th, which is Wednesday, we're going to take a look at how to alter your path in life. Okay, how to alter your path in life to make and to co-create the world you desire. Now, when I take a look just a little further, on the 20th, on this Friday, we're going to be looking at past lives. And then on the 21st, we're going to take a look at dream journals and just how useful they are. Yeah, a lot of them are, but sadly, mine have been, you take a book and you open it and close it like this every week for 50 years. Well, in my case, for 40, they wear out. Oh, this particular guy has tried being a game master, but very dry. The thing that created the problem the last game was I had a conflict going on. The guys had worked and have been winning it, and their adversaries, who by the way had picked the fight, tried to make a run for it. Well, because the one guy was connected, like he was already directly involved with the guy. When he went to break away from the fight, the player that was right there, I told him, "You get a parting shot." He doesn't, and nobody else does. The other character was on the other side of the room and facing the other direction. Okay, and he started trying to tell me, and he was getting real pushy about it, telling me why he should be able to have that shot because he could do this and this and that. I finally got fed up and I stood up and looked at him. I says, "One more word out of you, I'm gonna bring that spell back on you. I've told you, you don't get a shot." See, when I started gaming, we had two rules around the gaming table. One, game master is God. Rule number two, if you have a question, see rule number one. That was the end of that. World's going, I have the original spiral bound silver cord version of chainmail. Currently worth right now $1,000 if in mint condition. Not bad for something that used to sell for $5. Yeah. No, that really isn't. Like, you see all these figures up here. I haven't looked at them. These are all these figures up on the wall. Those are all Lord of the Rings figures. Okay. I have no idea what they're worth at this point. What I do know is I got them for an even better price than $5. I got handed them for free. Okay. Now, we are hitting we've just hit the 2-hour mark. But I really want to say thank you guys so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. It went a little sideways, which is quite normal around here. But I do want to say thank you so much. I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.